We really appreciate the questions y'all ask, and we look forward to each and every one. Whether in the comments section or by direct message, keep those questions coming. The first of these comes to us via Rumble. It's about bullet pullers. Why have them? What do you do with them? How do they work? There are a few reasons why. A. Reloading is about adjustments. During die setup, it's common to go a bit too far with seating, and the bullets need to be scooched out again until we get the die adjusted perfectly. B. Reloading isn't as precise as some would suggest. During load development, it's common to see pressure signs in the primer or case head and stop a ladder mid-test. We then need to pull those rounds down, repowering them to lower pressures. C. Weird things happen. Going for an unplanned swim while hunting, getting drenched in a thunderstorm, or sliding down a mountain on the snow while you sit on your rifle. It happens eventually if you're really out there doing out there things. Pull down wetted rounds for safety and reliability. Don't mess around.
Nice.
And D. Failures happen. We hope only rarely, but they will happen. When they do, and we lose confidence in that particular batch of rounds, we must pull that entire batch down. And this is just to name a few of them off the top of our heads. There are a lot of reasons why we need a bullet puller. What type of bullet puller is best? Well, that depends on the needs. There's really only two flavors to talk about: inertia pullers and collet pullers. Inertia pullers are the best for all-around general use because they're fast and they're easy and they have a better chance of not damaging the bullet. We can also bonk the bullet out just a tad for adjustment purposes. All the brands make one. They're affordable and last a long time. Get two. They are hard to break, but when you do break one, it'll be in the middle of a project. Collet pullers are best at mass grunt work. They're designed for absolute safety while pulling the slug out and not upsetting the powder. That way you can confidently weigh the charges. We have both flavors, and they both have their strengths. That said, we almost always use the inertia pullers because they don't often kill the bullets in the process of pulling. Collet pullers work by using an appropriately sized collet inside a die body to grip the bullet and apply cam action either by threads or a cam lever to lift the bullet from the case as the cartridge is retained in the shell holder. Inertia pullers, or kinetic pullers, bunker bangers, or anger hammers, just a few names we've heard for the inertia style, work by application of Newton's first law of motion, the part where it's stated that a body in motion tends to stay in motion. The slug, which is by far the more massive element of most cartridges, continues to move when the sudden stop of the case occurs, thus sliding the bullet out of the case neck. Inertia pullers are faster, but more violent. We get powder all over the bench when we use them, an unfortunate side effect of that violent and sudden stoppage. Occasionally, if we're really reefing on a stubborn subject, the bullet will bounce back up in the cavity and bonk into the case mouth, leaving a slight dent. It's not often, but it's worth mentioning. The inertia pullers have 2 or 3 sizes of buttons that snap into the extractor groove of the case, and then get sandwiched under the cap nut of the puller. They are typically made out of aluminum and have a lifespan measured in bonks per year, or months if you're really accident prone. Buy spares. You'll be needing those one day. And they are fast. Just doing 1 or 5 pulls, the inertia puller is your buddy. Usually 3 to 5 bonks per cartridge is what we experience. Bonk them on cement or a vise plate. Not the dinner table. Wood absorbs too much of the energy. It's too flexible of a surface, and will extend your bonking session needlessly. When using the bonkers, discard the powder to ensure no other previously pulled powder gets mixed in with it. Buy the type of puller that has the soft rubber stopper in the bottom to help keep the tip of the bullet from being damaged. We reuse the bullets we pulled with these mostly as fowlers or warm-ups, or we hand them to our friends to make them look like bad shots. But seriously, you can reuse those bullets if the tip is not badly deformed. We feel they should not be considered pristine like those that did not get pulled. Just better to treat them as potentially inaccurate rounds as good measure. Most of the time we're using the inertia pullers is because we're adjusting seating dies and we went just a bit too far. Light bonks scooch the bullet out and allow for a reset during die adjustment. But they're not perfect. The main failing of inertia pullers is that the factory or military sealed rounds can be bulky and difficult to smash out. For such applications, we turn to the cullet pullers. Those cullet pullers require caliber-specific cullets that fit the maker's die and the profile of the bullet being pulled. They cost extra, and the price is not inconsequential when considering you're just pulling bullets. The good news is, once you've paid for the cullets, you're done. They just never wear out. Unlike the inertia pullers, there's no violence in the cullet pullers. They are deliberate and controlled. However, we find that the bullet, particularly thin-skinned cup and core target or match bullets, are almost always damaged by the necessary grip forces involved. The primary advantages of the cullet-style pullers are that you're guaranteed you're going to get that bullet out of there. Whether it's sealed in by the military or crimped by an overzealous factory worker, it's going to come out. And the powder is undisturbed, so you can confidently weigh that charge. There are some other times folks will use them, like maybe reverse engineering a factory load, but we don't mess around with that stuff ourselves. Cullet pullers shine when you absolutely have to get the bullet out of there. They never break. They'll last a lifetime and perform without failure. But for daily use, it's important to remember that reseating bullets during die adjustment really isn't the focus of a cullet die. They're built to remove the bullets, and they do that quite well. So what's it all mean? Well, if you're just starting out, we recommend the inertia pullers. There's less money up front, and they work quite well. Less or no damage to the bullet if you get the one with the rubber stopper inside. But you'll be discarding the powder, don't reuse it. And you're unable to believe the scale if you're trying to measure the weight of that powder, because inevitably some of that powder escapes the puller. If you're already spending a lot of time on the bench, you'll want to add a cullet puller to that ensemble. By the time you get to that level, you'll know when it's time to use either type.
Our next question comes via direct message about our barrel cleaning routine. Well, that's a big wicket to get stuck in. Let's ask this question right off the bat. How clean does it need to be? Answer: clean enough so it functions to satisfaction until the next cleaning interval. For our EDC pistols, that's bright and clean, no residue or excessive oils that might hinder the use or reliability of the weapon in a moment of crisis. Clean because an officer of the court may demand to inspect that weapon, and by God, it must be obvious you have not fired it, or you just made the list of suspects for that 7-Eleven shooting a few blocks down. For our hunting rifles, we clean thoroughly, down to bare metal, before putting them up for the loading season. In the safe, we leave them in oil, and prior to shooting, swab them dry and verify they are properly oiled fresh. When we prepare for hunting, we foul the bore and leave it fouled by verifying center of our group.
That's nice.
We leave the barrels dry and in the exact same state as when we last fired them. We do this immediately prior to every hunt, preferably at the same altitude and temperature as we expect our hunt to be. Our target rifles get rode hard and put away wet. We know these barrels need a handful of shots through them to foul the bore and get into the zone of precision. We also know that after some magic number of rounds, our accuracy rolls off and we need to clean them to restore performance. So we let the barrels tell us what they need. The 300 PRC performance degrades after about 350 rounds and really drops off to unreliable after 500. But we expect our precision rifles to hold up to half-minute performance, then slide to 3/4 MOA before cleaning. Anything worse than 3/4 is unusable. AR-10s get semi-pampered, seldom cleaned to bright metal in the bore, never allowed to run all the way to degraded performance. They are used as suppressing fire and precision firearms, general one-rifle-does-it-all type uses. AR-15s get completely disrespected. We clean them because we don't want our safe to stink. We expect performance to the tune of 1.5 MOA, and they do that with copper dripping out of the muzzle. Clean enough they don't smell like it's half-price day at the ammunition store. To accomplish all of that, we use the whole gamut of products available to the enthusiast. Hoppy's number 9 is an absolute. It's like cologne for us. Smells like date night. Bronze bore brushes are purchased in bulk and discarded when they stop cutting quickly or get loose in the bore. Plastic bore brushes are also purchased in bulk, but get discarded less often than their bronze brethren. They excel in the application of carbon remover, not good at all for grinding out copper fouling. Breakthrough carbon remover. Spendy. Totally worth it. Use sparingly, it still works wonders. We soak our muzzle brakes in this stuff, and it turns the baked-on carbon to mud, easily wiped off with Q-tips. We reuse a tannerite bucket for soaking. Push and pull jags for patching because we also have some actions that aren't open through to the breech, like the Ruger 1022. Can't easily be a Puritan about going from breech to muzzle with that thing. Scrub it until your shoulder muscles ache and call it good enough. Bore paste. Yep, good stuff. JB, ISO. Wonderful for getting the hard deposits out. We've heard they reduce barrel life, and that might be true, but we've come to realize that the rifles we actually use are going to be rebarreled someday anyway. Barrels have a lifespan. Get used to it. So we use ISO when the target rifles get nastified and the barrels need a deep clean to restore their useful limit of rounds per shooting session. In fact, we have yet to find any other way to clean back to bare metal. Necessary for meaningful inspections, too. Bore guides. Love 'em. Use them whenever possible. Keeps the mess out of the chamber, reduces rod flex, and makes everything easier. Cleaning cradle or gun vise? Heck yes. We have the tackle box with built-in cradles, and it's a dream at the range. We often clean on the tailgate while the other is shooting. Makes for a fantastic range toolbox with all you need to solve problems in one carry case. And what about break-in cleaning? Well, go to the manufacturer for recommendations. Salco says don't worry about it, not necessary because hammer forged, but others have a protracted shoot one clean, shoot two clean progression they want you to follow. Deferring to the manufacturers is the only thing we'll talk about because it's a liability issue and a potential warranty issue. We don't want to mislead anyone. Lastly, we got a quick question via Truth Social asking about bore scopes. We had a Testlong. Worked great until it didn't. Now we have a Testlong display and no usable scope to attach to it. The flexible camera rod is great for storage, but didn't hold up well over time. Also was a pain to use smoothly in the bore, hard to rotate reliably. Solid rod scope is better. So we bought the Lyman solid rod scope and we love this thing. Image quality is fantastic and our phones connect reliably to it for saving those precious pics and vids. Solid rod isn't as long as the flexible ones, but it's clearly superior in all other respects. We use the scope often, tracking barrel wear, ensuring we know how dirty or clean the barrel is, inspecting the gas port in a gas-driven system, all good daily uses. We keep images in Excel files for each barrel so we can refer to the past for guidance and comparison. It's part of our routine record keeping. As a word of caution, when scoping your bore, be absolutely sure you've removed the solvent first. Clean and dry. That solvent will kill the camera. We've enjoyed exploring these topics and hope our answers have been helpful. Please keep those comments and questions coming. See you in our next video.
Are you quite pleased?
Yeah.
Whee!